Hi, everybody. If you're on Facebook and you can hear me, if you would let me know, I have a chat up that hopefully I can see everybody and see what you're chatting, what questions you have. So if you would post that in the comments, if you would let me know that you can hear me, that would be fabulous. Also over on Facebook, or excuse me, over on YouTube, if you're there and you can hear me. Oh, good, Marla. Is there any like that, like last time there was an echo? If you can let me know that there's no echo today, that would be fabulous. And let me see if I can figure out what's going on. I'll put a comment in. See if that shows up. Sorry, this is taking just a few minutes here. Let me get everything situated so that I can see what's going on. Oh, yay, no echo. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm trying to see why I'm not connecting. It's showing that I'm connected over on Facebook. Well, maybe nobody's over on Facebook yet. So let me get that back up. All right. Fabulous. So let me kind of clear this stuff out of the way. And let's see. All right. So looks like we are on both on Facebook, on the Fine Art Cafe Academy, and we are also on YouTube channel, the Fine Art Cafe Academy. Yay. Thank you, thank you. All right, we're going to go back and we're going to work on the birch tree. And I really like how this birch tree didn't go up straight, but sometimes when you're on the camera and I'm doing things, I tense up, and this one's not nearly as free-flowing as the original one. So going to see if I can kind of just add a little more definition to that today. So we're going to be using the same colors. I have violet, yellow ochre, and Ost blue, OST blue. Those are the same colors that I used on the first part 1. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And what we're going to do today is I want to put in some shadows. Now, we have our arrow coming from this direction. I believe that's on my right. It's probably mirrored in on your left. But our sun is coming from this direction. So when we're looking at a tree and we want it to look round, we don't want the tree to be flat. So in doing that, we're going to add more shadow on this side than this side. We want to add that roundness to make the tree so it's not flat, so it looks more dimensional. So I want to mix up and get kind of a grayish color. And again, I have my container with water, just plain old regular tap water. I like to use cold water. I have my inexpensive spray bottle, and there's just water in that. I have my palette knife, and again, I'm using the same one that I used the last time, and somebody had told me that this is a #1 palette knife. I'm not real familiar with them, so we'll go with that. It's a #1. Now, I do want to see if there's anybody over asking questions, and if you have any questions, let me know. Let me pull up Facebook, see if I can get that up here also. Excuse my arm. I just don't want to miss anybody if they have any questions or anything. And trying to balance all of this out. So, all right. Well, let's see. There it is. There it's on Facebook. All right, so we are up on Facebook. And we're going to, sorry for the messing around here. Okay. All right. Okay, now, so again, we want to add some shadow. We want more shadow on this side than on the side that the sun or the light is coming from. So I'm going to mix up some Ost blue and just sprinkle a little on my board. Some violet. And my yellow ochre. I'm using my palette knife, and I'm just scooping up a little bit of water. And it's kind of a purpley gray now. Now I'm getting into more of a, this is more of a warmer blue, bluish gray. I want to add it, I want to thin it down just a bit. So I want to start on the side that I want not as much of a shadow. And again, if we get more shadow in on the side, that's okay, because what we're going to do is go in with bleach and water and clean a lot of that up. Probably won't be able to do that today. I had hoped that we could, but I really think that it's not going to be dry enough. And as you can see, I'm kind of going out a little bit just to add a little more dimension into the tree. Don't want to go out too far, but just to make that tree look a little more three-dimensional. You can add in, because that's getting pretty green. And it's fairly warm here. It's been pretty humid around here where we live on the lake. We live on Lake Erie. So it takes a while for things to dry. So that's why I'm really thinking that what we're probably going to do is finish up a lot of this with the bleach and the water next week. Oh, excuse me. Again, I want to let you know, next week we won't have a live. It'll be the following week. We have another commitment. Seems like on Thursdays we have quite a few commitments. Our granddaughters play t-ball and softball, and a lot of their games are falling on Thursdays. So we're going to try and go to as many of those as we can. So I hope that you guys don't mind that we postpone it. Mixing that up again. So we have the partial shadow on the side that the light is coming from. So let's go in and add shadow over here, and I want to try and drag it more towards the center. And again, not trying to have anything perfect on these birch trees. They're really not in any uniform kind of design or pattern with the markings on them. Pretty funky tree right now. What do you think, Marla? Pretty crazy looking tree. And the recording for the first part 1 of doing this is up on the Fine Art Cafe Academy online. If anybody wants to go in, didn't get a chance to watch that. And the Fine Art Cafe is the fineartcafe.academy. So instead of .com, it's .academy. And you can find a course that is free, and part 1 is up there, and then I will get this part also up there, so it's there for anybody to watch that is interested in watching it. Hi, Deb. Thanks for being on. And Debbie and Marla are over on YouTube. Marla, you said it's pretty cool looking so far. I don't know too much about that. It's pretty funky looking to me. And what I'm doing now is just taking the palette knife and adding water without pigment. And it looks like I'm kind of getting carried away and getting that color over pretty far on this side, which again, my light is coming in on an angle, coming this way. So this is our lighter side. And if you're over on YouTube, if you could like the video, the live, and then also if you could subscribe, that would be great. That'll help build up our audience and get more subscribers. again, when we first started, I was telling everybody I really don't like how I made it so straight. So I'm kind of like correcting that a little bit, making it not quite as, what would I call it? It was just so uniformed. It was like two straight lines going up. And trees aren't that way. Trees have nooks and crannies and divots in them. So I'm just trying to go in and add some little bit of craziness to this. Now, because these colors are part of the colors in Brusho that are more staining, the purples, the greens, the blues, they're a lot more staining. I'm probably going to use a heavier mixture of bleach and water. Probably go in with more bleach than I do with water on this one, just to lift some of this up. On this one, I did the same. And this one, the sun is coming from this direction, so this is my lighter side. And I went in and I lifted a lot more of that color, but you can see where those colors actually didn't really lift and they just kind of changed, and how different in texture that looks. Again, this is the shadow side, so you have more of a shadow, making the tree have more of a rounded look to it. So let's see. I think I want some more branches in here. And where the branches come out, you kind of get those little bumps where they stick out from the tree a little bit. Try that one again. And as many times as I do these, they never turn out the same. I don't know anybody who does a lot of trees, if your trees come out and look anywhere near the same. Mine never do. Put some branches coming down off of these just to give it a little more character. And some of these that are just little kind of nubbins that stick out. And what I want to do here is, because I have this straight line, I'm just going to add some color into that line. What I don't want is, I don't want that line showing through through the painting, even after I lift some of the color. So I'm just dropping, my paper is pretty wet here, I'm just dropping some color into that line to break up that line. Hope that makes sense. So let's see, what else do I want to do to it? I think it needs some more branches coming down off of these This branch comes up, and let's have it break off this way. And what I did there is I'm tapping off. I have a pretty good sized puddle of color on my palette knife, and I didn't want it that thick coming off of that branch. So I tapped just a little bit of the color off of my palette knife just to make that branch a little bit thinner. And I'm trying to get so that some of these branches are coming from the tree, the rounded part of the tree. If you look at a tree, they just don't all come from the side of the tree. They come from all over the tree. You know, they're around the rounded part of the tree, the front of the tree. And we can go in and add more of that when we go in and start cleaning a lot of this up. I want to strengthen this one a little bit that's coming from the rounded part of the tree, the front of the tree. Give it a little bit of a base that it's coming out of. And I'm just darkening the bottom part of that branch coming out. So how you can see this now, it looks like it's actually coming out from the front of the tree. The same here. This one, as I add more color, looks like it's coming out not directly from the side of the tree, but out more from the front of the tree. And the same with this one here. Let's give it just a little more. Of that little area where it's popping up out of the front. And let's see. Add a few more branches over on this side. Run it off of that tree. I want to make this branch that's coming out a little thicker. It looked way too thin. And I want that branch coming again from the front or close to the front of the tree. I'm picking up pigment on the palette knife and dropping it in so that it's coming more from the front of the tree. Let's see, all of our branches are going up. I like to add some branches that are actually kind of falling down. And that was blue that I put where my yellow ochre is, so I need to start another spot of yellow ochre. Add a little more color to that. And let's see, let's start a branch coming from the front. that's coming down. And it's gone behind the tree. Now, if you follow where that went behind the tree and you come down, you can almost have another branch that's coming out the other side, where that branch goes behind the tree, comes out over on this side. I like that going down, just gives a little more character. Let's add another one over. Let's see, where should we add? I don't want it directly across from this one. So maybe, let's see. Coming down here. And that one can come from the back of the tree. So, for those that are watching, Debbie, Marla, if there's anybody else watching, where do you think another branch should come from? Give me some input on what you would like to see, the direction. Now, just to add a little bit of texture, what I'm going to do is where this is wet and I have my yellow ochre, sprinkle it on this side, just to add just a touch of character to the tree. On this side, hopefully it's still wet enough, I want to add a little bit of the violet. Now, it's damp, so it's not going to do a whole lot. And then let's add just a touch of the Oast Blue. And then what we can go in, drop some water in. And hopefully it'll pick up some of those crystals that we put on there. Let it run a little bit. I hope that didn't blur. Now I'm getting this paper pretty wet, and that's the cool thing about, ooh, look at this one, about the Stonehenge Aqua watercolor paper. It really takes a lot of water, a lot of abuse. Mop up a little bit. Want to do the same thing. Okay, Marla, you said place a thicker branch towards the bottom third. On this side, on the darker side, or on the lighter side? Let me know what you think. Again, just throwing some water in to activate some of those beautiful colored crystals that I sprinkled on. No rhyme, no reason, just to give a little more color, a little more texture into our tree. know there's a delay from what I'm doing and what you guys are seeing, so I'll wait to. Okay, Darla, Marla says on the darker side, so that's the side we just worked on. And let's move this around a little bit. Ooh, look at those beautiful colors coming out. Yay. So a thicker branch, bottom third. In this area, I'm going to take it that's, let's add some purple to the mixture. And a little bit of blue. Okay. Keep getting a lot of green today. I add it up here. Okay, let's say about in this area, Marla, what do you think? Okay, I want to see. Let's try right about here. I'm going to turn my paper just a little bit. And I'm doing it on the side. Oops. What do you think, Marla? Is that about what you were thinking? What I'm doing is, again, bringing it so that it's not coming directly out of the side of the tree. A little higher. Oops! Should we put another one in? Or is that okay? Let's see. There's something about this side that bothers me. And it's, to me, it's like all of the branches are coming directly from the side of the tree. And I don't like that. Let's see. Okay. One of the other things I like to do is I like to pull up some that are maybe coming up off of the ground. Just to add character to it. Oh, Marlo, that one looks good. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Again, and you can mess with this. You can just continue to mess and mess and mess with it. I'm just trying to bring this one out a little more. To me, this side right in this area looks a little funky, and I'm not sure why. Let's bring a branch down from the top. And you know what? When this is matted and framed, it's going to look totally different because that top part's going to be cut off. On a Stonehenge Aqua watercolor paper, on Arches paper, a full-size sheet of paper is 22 by 30. So when you divide that into quarters, you're getting 11 by 15. So on the 11 by 15, and you mat it, you're going to have just a small edge on each side that your mat's going to cover, because the mat is like, I think, a 1/4 inch smaller than 11. So I think it's like 10 3/4 or just a hair a little different. But you have an inch, a little over an inch to play with. So you can mat it up or down from the top or the bottom to cut part of that off, which is really, really nice because you don't have to worry about, you know, where it ends and where it stops. You can kind of adjust that with your mat. So let's just sprinkle a little bit of yellow ochre just in the trees. I'm going to try and erase this pencil mark where I have the direction of my light source coming from. It doesn't matter if part of it's still there. It'll get covered over with some of the leaves. Again, I'm using a kneaded eraser. I don't know if anyone is familiar with that, but as they get dirty, you just stretch them and pull them out, and it kind of cleans them up. And let's just sprinkle a tiny bit of yellow ochre here and there. Just to give the idea of a few of the leaves are still hanging out. So I don't care if my branches run a little bit. I like to have that happen. It gives a little more of an organic look in my viewpoint. So I'm just kind of spritzing heavy spritzes in a few areas, kind of so that I get more of like a bunch of leaves. See how the branches run into those leaves? Now that's going to mix with the yellow ochre, and it's going to give a little bit of a green so that it actually looks like there are leaves there. And look how this spreads up. To me, that really makes a tree organic. And I think that's enough. I don't want to overdo. So this is really, really kind of wet. I think I'm going to, let's see, we still have quite a little bit of time. So does anybody have any questions? And I'm going to look over on Facebook because I don't see anything feeding in. Let me see if I can do this left-handed. Don't see any comments over on Facebook. On YouTube, do we have any questions that we can have kind of like a Q&A and kind of go from there? And then I'm going to let this dry. Again, we're going to miss next week, but we'll be back. And next week is July 1st. So that's right close to the holidays. I think a lot of people will probably be really on their holiday breaks too, with July 4th for the States. So then we'll pick up the following week on Thursday. And I'll put that in the email that everybody gets, and then I will also post that on the Brusho Fun group and on the Fine Art Cafe Academy on Facebook, so that everybody knows, you know, we're skipping a week. But what kind of questions? And Marla says she loves the kneaded erasers. Yeah, they're really, really cool. I so enjoy using them. I think they really are cool because they clean up, they clean themselves. You know, if you get them really, really dirty, you can just kind of keep kneading them and they get clean. I have these things all over my art studio in with the colored pencils. I have them everywhere. I don't know how many I even have of these things. Sometimes they really get kind of hard too, sitting out, and the more you just kind of warm them up with your hands and knead them, they come back to life. So again, questions. Marla, Deb, do either of you, anybody else that's on watching, have any questions before we close out for the evening and kind of answer like a Q&A? If not, what we'll do then is we'll kind of close it out a little bit early tonight. Looks like we've been on for almost 45 minutes. So I'll kind of give it a few minutes to catch up, because I do know that we are on a delay when it feeds over to YouTube and also to Facebook. So if anybody has any questions, let me know. Again, look at the textures. Look how this is spreading out and creating the different colors. I absolutely love that effect. So, well, I don't see any questions. Okay, Debbie. No, I'm looking forward to the bleach effects next time in 2 weeks. Yes, it's going to be so much fun. We'll go in, we'll clean up a lot of this. We may add some more defined branches in, or make some of these that have fuzzed out a little bit more defined. But basically, that's about it. Once we clean this all up, and you know, like I said, if our light is coming from this way, this side is not going to have as much dark area as this side. And I really did kind of get carried away on this side, but I did kind of wanted to do that so we can go in and clean a lot of that up. Definitely looking forward to the bleach. Yeah, I was hoping we could do it today, but it's too wet. And with the bleach and water, it really works so much better on the Stonehenge Aqua when your paper is dry. And in 2 weeks, it definitely will be dried out. I won't touch it. I promise you all. I won't mess with it. I'll put it under. I think my next painting that I'm going to do is going to be a camel. I've got a series in these same colors of animals. I just finished up an alpaca that turned out pretty cool. I really like the guy, or gal. Her name is Gertie. And it was a lot of fun doing that one. Some paintings just kind of flow and they almost paint themselves. The alpaca, I really had to work a little more at it. It's right here if you'd like to see it. But this guy, or gal, I should say, really had a lot of work that went into it, trying to get all of the highlights and the lowlights in the fur. Debbie, he's cute. Yeah, there was something about the face of this when I saw the photo in one of the Facebook groups that they do photos for artists to use. There was something about the face, and the alpaca passed away just a few months ago. Her name is Gertie, but all of the photos I've ever seen this lady post of her alpacas, this one is just so adorable. I just fell in love with it. A lot of people have painted it. So it was just fun to do, but it was one that I had to work at. It took a lot of time going back in and lifting, and then going back with adding more of the darker colors, the more darker values to it. So, and I don't know why some paintings are that way. They just seem to be, and it's not a struggle, they're just more work, I guess. It's the only way I can explain it. She was a lot more work to do than some of the other ones that I've done. So I think a camel is the next one that I'm going to be doing. We'll see. So again, I want to close it out for the night. Thank you everybody for watching. Part 2 will be up on the Fine Art Cafe online, the Academy. So it'd be the fineartcafe.academy instead of .com. I'll get that one up there. The first part is already posted there, and it definitely will be on YouTube available. So again, if you're over on YouTube, give us a like and also subscribe so that we can start building up the following. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the week and your weekend. We will see you in 2 weeks. Good night, everybody.